Testing, testing.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Cool. Let's go.
Whew, what a week it's been.
Truly. I'm Alex.
And I'm Emily, and welcome to What a Week.
You want it, we got it. We're bringing you the top news and pop culture stories you need to be in the know.
Before we get started, we're going to explain our wardrobe situation.
Yes.
So Alex, this is a special Halloween episode. And so we are dressing up and as our idols. And I am RPG, the one and only Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes, and I am AOC, of course. Literally, we were just like, Emily had her idea for a long time, and I was like, ugh, like, my typical is being Ariana Grande, like, with the ponytail and everything, but I lost my ponytail, so I'm like, okay, who else do I do? But I love that. I feel so powerful. I literally feel like a congresswoman.
Me too. I'm like, give me a gavel, like, let's go pass some laws. Or like, yeah, we're dorks dressing up as political figures, but you know what? That's just us. But
yes, we love it.
Let's get started now, Alex.
Yes. So our first section we're going to do is news and politics.
News.
Okay, so the second and final debate was this week, which is literally so insane to me, and it was a lot less chaotic than the first one. This time, microphones were able to be muted, which I personally think should have been a strategy from the start. There were a few key moments that I want to call attention to. One, Biden came for Trump, rightfully so, for his response to COVID. Trump said that the United States was rounding the turn and that this virus is going away. I think it's really, really, really important to note that Friday, October 23rd, set the daily record number of cases in one day with more than 84,000 cases. That's one of every 4,000 Americans. This is literally only getting worse. The New York Times put out like this graph, which, graphs are everywhere right now, but it's like the first curve from this is still the first wave. I think I should emphasize that before we even say anything, but it's like around that March, like springtime, it's like this kind of big, and then it goes down, and then like in like the end of summer, it peaks again, and then now this one's heading like even higher than the other two like waves we've had, which are still the first wave. But it's just, it's just like to act like it's going away is absolutely ridiculous. It's so crazy. So then, two, Trump said we were only weeks away from a coronavirus vaccine, but we just heard Dr. Fauci say just weeks ago that realistically, vaccines won't even be available for everyone well into 2021. And three, Biden accidentally referred to the Proud Boys, which we heard about, in the first debate too, as the poor boys. And honestly, I just love the Freudian slip. I thought it was quite funny. So that's kind of what Twitter was talking about. Because there weren't, last time you got, with Kamala, you got the I'm speaking. With, Joe, you got the, what did he say the first one? That was like a big thing.
Shut up, man.
Yeah, it was like, will you just shut up? Or something. And I'm just like, I love the little moments that like get a lot of traction online, because it's just like, this is what elections are nowadays. It's so much like internet culture and kind of what everyone's discussing. Yeah. So I loved that. Okay, moving on to an awful, awful story. And honestly, this is something that took place a little too close for home to me, because it happened in Santee, which is it's a city, right? I'm not sure, a neighborhood or a city. Yeah, but it's right outside of San Diego. So a video went viral this week with a woman refusing to pull up her mask at a Starbucks in Santee. When the 19-year-old Starbucks employee politely asked her to pull it back up, the lady started getting super mad, and she was saying, "I know you're discriminating against me because I'm a Trump supporter." First of all, did she not look around and see literally everyone else had a mask on? Like, you could literally see other people in the video with masks on.
And she didn't, have anything that, said she was a Trump supporter.
I was wondering if it was a Trump mask or something, but even so, it was, pulled down, so how could you see type of situation?
Maybe, because, she wasn't wearing, the hat, she wasn't wearing a shirt, unless the mask said, something on it, there was no way. And I'm also would Trump have masks? that say
Yeah. I know. Imagine if he came out with masks. Like, we would be well better off. Literally. Like, that could be great. And so then she kept kind of yelling how the virus is a hoax, and she yelled Trump 2020. And she also repeatedly yelled, fuck Black Lives Matter, which absolutely awful. I mean, obviously she's racist, problematic, all the things. But honestly, the part that I can't get over is the fact that she literally had a mask the entire video, but just pulled down. Like, I don't get why she even brought a mask to begin with if she's going to be this way. Like, that's what I don't understand.
It was almost like she was just taunting and being like, ha 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 ha, like, I'm not listening to you, like, I'm going to do what I want, like, I have a mask, but I'm not going to wear it. And I also, the employee, too, like, in the video, she was so respectful. Like, I would have, like, lost my mind. I hated working customer service because people are just so rude and, like, mean for no reason. And, like, the Starbucks employee handled it really well. Like, I don't think she was necessarily giving her sass or, like, being rude to her at all. And, like, she was just like, please, like, can you wear a mask? And she just would flip out. And then even she, like, left, too. So she got her coffee. The woman left. And then she, like, opens the door or something and says, like, fuck Black Lives Matter. And she comes back in. And then she leaves again. And, like, at that point, the Starbucks employee was like, please leave the store. Like, please, like, you have to leave the store. And it's just, like, crazy. And the person next to the woman, the Trump supporter, was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not with her. Like, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. And she's like, it's okay, man. Like, it's okay. It's fine. Like, I can handle it. Which is just so sad. Like,
I know. That's my next note. I mean, the barista, she's a 19-year-old named Alex Beckham, and she posted the entire thing on TikTok and literally, like you said, handled it so calmly. Like, I mean, even, like, the woman was kind of yelling all these things at her, or just, I don't know if it was at her directly or just at the world. She's like, I don't know why she's the way she was, but, like, between her, like, yelling these things, she was like, and please, can I have a straw? And then the Starbucks employee was like, here you go. Next time, if you don't pull up your mask, like, you can't come in, like, type thing. She was, like, literal so calm the whole time. And people like Alex are why I remember East County, San Diego is not all that bad. So I literally, because of the barista, like, thank you for doing your part. I'm sorry you have to deal with stuff like that. But literally, like, she handled it amazing.
Yeah, she really did. And now, we're switching gears to our entertainment section.
And there's people that are dying.
Entertainment Roundup.
So, here's a throwback for you. Zoey 101 is back. Kinda. So, Jamie Lynn Spears released a remake of the theme song of the Zoey 101 theme song last week. And it brought back some major flashbacks to my childhood and made me realize I'm freaking old now. And Britney Spears, so she announced her song on Instagram. And it was kind of confusing because she made it seem like she announced the cast of the reboot. But she didn't. She announced the cast or the people that were going to be on the, like, live stream premiere of this, like, remake of the original Zoey 101 song. So it was really confusing because when I went on her, and I guess, like, looking back at the post now, it, like, I get it now that it happened. But when the post came out, everyone was, like, freaking out, including myself, because we're like, oh my god, Zoey 101's back. And, like, they've kind of been teasing this for a while. And it was, like, the cast or, like, whatever for this premiere was, like, Dixie D'Amelio, Noah Beck, Jojo Siwa, Gigi Gorgeous, Sophia Reyes, Chantel Jeffries, because she's the one who, like, did the remake song with Jamie Lynn Spears. And I was like, this is the randomest, like, cast, like, ever. Like, do I even want to watch it at this point?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they were just trying to promote the song so the young kids would watch it. Like, makes sense. Thank God.
I know. I was like, Jojo Siwa.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Dixie D'Amelio, like, okay, sure. But now Jamie Lynn Spears says a reboot is in the works. They've been teasing this, like I mentioned before, for a while. The cast appeared on All That this year doing a skit, and that was the first time they were all reunited for a while. So the reboot they're talking about it, it's in the works, but everything was delayed because of COVID. So we're going to have to wait a little while until we see what Zoey and her friends are up to.
Wow. I mean, like, That's the thing. I wish the original episodes were posted on like Hulu or Netflix or something because I literal want to watch it so bad. Like, I know it was one of those shows in our childhood that was like a drama. Like, it was like a One Tree Hill style type thing. Like, it was not your normal like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Like, this was intense.
And it was like, it was really like a trendsetter because I remember like they were the ones with the flip, like the sidekick kind of things. Everybody thought was cool and like the different colors, and then like people started wearing keys because Zoey had her keys as a necklace. And then I remember Lola, Victoria Justice's character, had like really cool bags and like totes that she would bring to school. And then everyone at my school started wearing bringing tote bags and stuff. And like I feel like that show and Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena Gomez, like were really like inspired style and like trends for kids back then.
Oh, totally. Oh, the key for sure. And honestly, Victoria Justice in that show, I was obsessed with her in that show. I thought she was the coolest person ever.
I went to school with her little sister. When Zoe went in middle school and elementary school, so I just remember being like, I never went to school with Victoria, but I was just like, oh my god. But yeah, so I mean, they haven't announced who the cast is yet, so we'll have to wait. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, Zoe should be like 30 now. Did she end up with Chase? There's so many questions.
I know. I just hope they make it appeal to like our age and not to everyone. Like, I hope it's like for the people that watched it at that time, if that makes sense. Because I'm just like, I don't want to watch like, I don't know. I can't think of something at the moment that like came back. Like, I know, like, Raven, That's So Raven kind of has a sitcom, but it's,
the kids.
Yeah, it's, like, on Disney, but, like, I don't know, I really hope it's, like, good, like, interesting, like, for adults.
But, okay, so it can't be an episode of What a Week without me talking about the Kardashians, because you know by now that I'm obsessed with them. So, I have to talk about this. Khloe and Tristan are back together. So... An insider told E! News exclusively that the two had, quote, the very special and meaningful time during quarantine to think for their reconciliation. The two quarantined together to parent their daughter True, which is, I think, why the news of them getting back together isn't, like, a big surprise for anyone. So, now as many of you will probably remember, Tristan was caught cheating on Khloe twice. Once when she was pregnant, literally days before she gave birth. And the second was with Kylie Jenner's former best friend, Jordan Woods. I think we can all remember that scandal. That insider told E! News that Tristan has bent over backwards to be with her and that she resisted for a long time, but she's slowly finding his way back in. So, I mean, what do you think, Alex?
I mean, admittedly, I think I've said this before, Khloe is not my favorite.
I'm still, like, upset that you think that, but okay.
And my thing is just, like, the way that they fully shunned Jordan Woods and, like, completely excommunicated her from the family and treated her quite horribly. Just for her to get back with Tristan Thompson. It's just, like, it's just...
Jordan, I'd be pissed.
Oh, I'd be so mad. And luckily, Jordan looks like she's absolutely thriving, and I'm happy for her. Honestly, it was probably some negative energy out of her life, if I'm being honest. But, like... I mean, I'm not surprised, but it's just, like, really type thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did definitely, like, shut out Jordan, and it does suck because Tristan is her baby daddy, too. So, like, regardless if they got back together or not, he was always going to be in their lives, and so they always had to be kind of civil. So it does suck that, like, Jordan... I don't want to say she lost everything, but her world definitely was shaken a lot more than Tristan because she lived with Kylie at the time, and, like... all that stuff. But, I mean, she is thriving. As far as Khloe and Tristan go, I saw this coming. I mean, I think everyone saw it coming when they started quarantining together. I hope he doesn't cheat on her again. I feel like everyone's watching Tristan and, like, kind of waiting for him to screw up. And, like, so I hope he, like, has learned and won't do this again for the sake of Khloe and her baby. And I also, like, I've never been cheated on, thankfully. But, like, I feel like you want it to work out when there's a baby involved, so I don't blame her for trying again. And at the end of the day, it's like her life. She can do whatever she wants. She knows what she's doing. And so as long as she's happy and Tristan and True are happy and they make it work, then that's great. Because then at the end of the day, this family stays together and they don't have to co-parent or have like an awkward, relationship or anything.
Totally. I know. I think the hope here is that it does work out, because if it doesn't, like, I mean, that's so hard for True, especially when she's of the age that she can go on the internet and kind of see all these things that happened and, like, how often her mom kind of went back to him, too. It's just, like, it's not, like, I just hope for her sake it works out. That's what I hope for. Because True is so precious. I love her.
She's so precious. And you're right. She's going to get to the age, she's going to start remembering things at this point. So, like, they need to make it work for True.
Totally, yes.
And they will. And now, on to our next topic, section, internet culture.
Internet culture.
So this story is kind of wild, and I'm kind of excited. So last week, this blew up the internet. So Billie Eilish stirred up the internet this past week when she posted an optical illusion thanks to her Uptempo Nike shoes. So it all started when she went on IG stories and asked people to, like, send in questions. And someone asked her, like, what did you think of that famous dress? The dress that someone posted that with the stripes, and everybody was like, is it gold or white, or is it black and blue? And Billie was like, oh, I thought it was gold and blue. Like, everyone's crazy. Like, I can't believe you guys, like, didn't see anything else. And then she mentioned how, like, she had a similar situation with her dad. One day she was wearing the Uptempo shoes that are mint green and white. And her dad is like, why are you wearing pink and white shoes? And she's like, pink and white? These shoes are mint green and white. Like, what are you, like, what? And so then she posted a picture of the shoes on her IG story. And everyone, including myself, lost it. And I, like, thought it was crazy. Because she was like, they're mint green and white. And I was like, no, bitch. They're pink and white. And I was like, am I crazy? And I was crazy because she, like, posted pictures of proof that her shoes were, in fact, mint green and white because they don't make pink and white ones. And when she posted pictures from, like, Google on her story, I was like, okay, I see the green and the white. And then after, I went back to look at her story again, and I was like, oh my god, now I see green and white. So why was I seeing pink and white before?
Yeah. I mean,
what did you think of the shoes?
I'm looking at the photos, and you're right. It was, like, immediately pink and white for me. Okay, in the, like, black and blue or white and gold dress back in, like, 2015, like, at first, I saw white and gold. Like, I could not see black and blue. But now, I've trained my eyes. So I knew we were talking about this, and I was, like, looking at the dress from yesterday, and I'm, like, now when I squint and I think of what color it's supposed to be, it's able to change before my very eyes.
Okay. I think that happened with me in the shoes, so I see that.
So I'm, like, trying to do that with the shoes. I'm like, okay, I believe it's blue. I believe it's, or mint. Like, I'm believing it. And it's just, like, I kind of see it. Like, the more I look at it and look at different angles, I'm like, okay, I see it more, but still, even, like, I think she did the brightness of the day next to, like, actual pink and white shoes. And I was like, okay, that's the only place that it very clearly looks mint to me. Like, the only place.
Isn't it, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about this, but, like, isn't it crazy how our eyes do that? I'm like, am I colorblind? Like, why is it green, but, like, I'm seeing pink, and, like, but now I'm not? And what? Like, how are our eyes playing tricks? Like, I know. Actually, like, am I wearing brown or is this really black? Like, I don't know. It's all an illusion.
Literally, I know, it's so interesting. And do you remember, I just thought of this. Do you remember Yanni and Laurel? Like, that one recording? And it was, I think this was, like, 2018. And they were like, which do you hear? And it was, like, people either heard Yanni or they heard Laurel. And I was like, I could not hear Laurel whatsoever. It was, I'll have to send it to you after, because that was a thing, a wild thing.
Wow.
So I'm like, our eyes and our ears, who do we trust anymore?
You can't trust anybody these days, not even yourself.
No one. No one at all. Okay, so a little change in gears, but leading up to the top story, I want to discuss this media personality that honestly I used to be a huge fan of when I was younger. So his name is Anthony Quintal, and he's known, like, online and everywhere as Low Anthony. And he was an openly gay internet star. And I kind of started following him around the time that, like, Tumblr was big. I'm pretty sure he was on there, on Twitter, yeah, I know. And I've never been a YouTube, like, besides our show, but, like, I've never been a huge, like, YouTube consumer, but I know he's been big on YouTube as well. But so I was around 15 when I started following him, and he was 13. And he was just really well known for his pop culture commentary, like Low Anthony, like, literally Lindsay Lohan. his advocacy for the LGBTQ plus community as he identified as gay, and just being like a relatable teenager on the internet at the same time we were, because this was like before iPhones. We all had to like wait to come home from high school to go on Tumblr. Like that's kind of, yeah, like it's kind of like that's how the internet was back then, and he was just super relatable. But recently, he came back to social media with this huge announcement that he renounced his sexuality. So he announced that he now claimed a life of Christian celibacy, and he moved on from sexual immortality. Again, these are all his words, not mine, of his past. And this is all rhetoric used when kind of discussing conversion therapy, by the way. And honestly, I'm not going to repeat everything he said about himself and his past in the LGBTQ plus community, because it's hate speech, and it's just kind of wrapped in this veil of self-discovery. Insider spoke to 2 LGBTQ plus advocates who warned that his message was rooted in harmful homophobic sentiment in the Christian community, which can be, of course, incredibly dangerous to young LGBTQ plus people and their families. I mean, you have to remember, this is literally someone who has a platform in the first place because of his advocacy in the community. And I mean, just yesterday, I saw someone like screen recorded it on Instagram Live and posted on Twitter, and it was him just saying like, I love Trump, like I support Trump, like Biden doesn't like stand for anything I stand for. And people were like in the because you have to like, this is all very new that he kind of came out with this like hate speech that he's kind of
shocked. He's kind of betraying them in a way.
Oh, totally. So I'm sure a lot of the people like watching were people that have been fans of him for a while, and they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, why do you support like this person who's done these things? And he's like, oh, he's just stands for what I stand for. He's a Christian man, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's just like, I mean, it's absolutely insane. So now kind of to our top story. I wanted to talk about that just because it's like, it literally shocked me so much because I used to love following him. I mean, I haven't followed him for a while just because like, I mean, he's younger than us. So I was like, I don't want to follow a teenager when I'm like 21, but like, it's just, I mean, he's 21 now. So it's just so crazy. But now on to our top story. So TikTok announced this week that it'll finally be banning content that supports conversion therapy from its platform. So in a statement titled Countering Hate on TikTok, they said that they will be removing content that is harmful to the LGBTQ plus community, including content that promotes conversion therapy and the idea that no one is born LGBTQ plus. They also said that they will be redoubling efforts towards removing content related to white supremacy and neo-Nazism, as well as stuff that spreads misinformation and hurtful stereotypes about Jewish, Muslim, and other communities. And honestly, in a time with so much misinformation and so much hate online, I think this is such a huge, important step. And back in July, Facebook and Twitter announced that they would also ban this type of hateful content too, but they have not been enforcing it whatsoever. So I kind of wanted to ask, do you think TikTok is going to set a precedent for other social media sites?
Yeah, I think so. And I feel like it's kind of sad that like Facebook and Twitter have been saying that they're going to do this for so long. Mm-hmm. I feel like Twitter, I mean, I don't really go on Facebook anymore. It's just for old people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like Twitter is like really strict on certain things, but like isn't on other things. So it's like, I wish they were more strict across the board or like consistent with it, if that makes sense. But I do think it's great that TikTok is doing this because people that are on TikTok are, I want to say, I mean, I don't know their exact demo, but like I want to say it's between like 13 and like 26, like kind of skews a lot younger, right? And so I feel like it's great that they're doing this and that they are the platform to start doing this and like really enforcing it, because the people on the platform can be most influenced and impacted by these types of things. Like if you're a young person in the LGBTQ plus community and you're seeing conversion therapy and all this like hate speech towards them, it really impacts them and could cause depression or could cause a lot of issues. So I think it is great, and I think they are going to set a precedent for this because TikTok has been in the news a lot lately because of the whole like China privacy laws and all that stuff. And so like I feel like this is a good step to kind of give them like some good news or like good PR, but it's also really great for the TikTok community that can be kind of toxic sometimes. Like a lot of creators on TikTok have said like their For You page is stuff of like people criticizing them. Like Addison Rae was like, people are being so mean and like bullying me and calling me fat. So like, I mean, this is specifically more towards hate speech and misinformation and stuff, but I think it is a better and a good first step to make it a better place and like a safer environment for everyone.
Totally, I think so too. And I mean, I even try to think what other sites are doing. Like, I know Twitter recently, I think up until the election, they're doing this. I don't know if you all have noticed, but if you go to retweet something, it'll take you to the tweet it first, because they don't want you to just like immediately retweet kind of like misinformation. And then I know they kind of put like, if Trump says something that's like wildly outrageous, which all of them are, but wildly, yeah, they'll put something that says like, oh, this is false or whatever. But I mean, Facebook is literally the worst of them all. I mean, you said old people are on there, but like, I don't go on because it's such a hateful place. And like, literally like the top 10, I remember seeing this like 2 weeks ago, but the top 10 articles that were like clicked and shared on Facebook were all like Ben Shapiro's website and like, I'm trying to think of other like very right-wing like misinformation type websites, but it's like, these are the things that are like, this is like what's heavily being like a reason why people are like congregating on Facebook and kind of like going on these sites. And it's just like, for Facebook to kind of be like, we'll just let them do whatever they want to do. Like, yeah, you can make as many statements as you want that you're going to stop it, but where's the action? Yeah, so it's...
Put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. I think so. And it's just like, I mean, TikTok, like, obviously does have its problems, but to understand, for TikTok to understand the impact of their platform, because it's huge. I mean, I always think of the example of like everyone on TikTok but reserving their tickets to the Trump rally, and then like there's like a million empty seats. It's just like, I think of the impact that TikTok has had on just what's going on right now in general, and I think this is just such an amazing step, and I really hope it spreads to other social media sites.
And I hope they actually stick with it and they're not just all talk.
Totally. I fully agree.
So time will tell, but hopefully they actually do it and, and it gets better.
Yes, I totally agree. Well.
It's time.
It's time.
Week, everybody.
Yes! Okay, so what is your good news of the week?
Okay, so I'll start. My friend Kristen sent something in and said the Ariana Grande positions. We didn't talk about that.
I know, I knew you skipped it, but I was like, the next album's coming out, and I was thinking we could talk about it now.
Let's talk about it real quick right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so my friend Kristen submitted something and said, Ariana Grande dropped positions, and that brings me to our story and entertainment news that I totally skipped over. I'm so sorry. So, Ariana Grande dropped positions, and it's a major bop. The song, the video, everything, perfection. The outfits, stellar.
I mean,
the video takes place in the White House, and it just shows her being a major boss and like killing it. And there's like diversity in her cabinet, her outfits, kind of like some inspo of like Jackie O, and like super great. And thankfully, we don't have to wait that long for her album because it's coming out Friday, November 30th. And Alex is a huge Ariana Grande fan. She has a picture of her on her wall, and so let's just. Alex, the floor is yours. You've got 2 minutes.
Oh my god. Okay. So first of all, so I didn't watch the premiere. Usually if something like uploads 9 p.m. on like a Thursday night, I'll like watch it right away. I totally forgot, and then it was like 9:17 and I was like, oh my god, Ariana. And so like I went and watched it. I was just like, honestly, the song is good. It's obviously not my favorite of her music. Like, I think the album is definitely going to have some amazing bops. I think usually, like, the single people drop before the album is not their best. They just know it's the most catchy. I think people usually do the most catchy. So, like, I'm like, okay. Thank You Next. Well, no, there were better ones on that album.
But
it was really good, but... Yeah, that was a good one, but I'm just like, I know it's going to be like a treasure mine, and honestly, this era is so amazing because My personal favorite era, like, I loved the Sweetener era. I loved how she, like, talked.
Too.
It was so good. It was like she was in love and it was, like, cutesy, but it was also, like, addressing mental health issues. And honestly, I loved that. And I love that she, like, uses her albums to, like, kind of address what's going on in her life. And I think that's so inspirational. And I think this will be really cool to see kind of what this album's about. And the fact that Positions was, like, this kind of fun song, she knew people would be talking about it, so she made kind of a statement with her music video.
For sure.
Exactly. I mean, literally to drop it the same night as the final presidential debate, it's like more people watch that than watch the presidential debate. Like, it's kind of crazy. And honestly, like, I love that. Like, I saw some people kind of critiquing that, like, oh, she's taking away attention from it. But it's just, like,
I can see that, but...
To, like, I think to, like, defend her, which I will criticize her if I need to, but I don't think I need to in this point. Because I think, like, it shows that, like, I mean, she was very clearly like, this is the future we could have. I honestly think, like, that's kind of the statement she was making.
I agree. And also, like, the song has nothing to do with, like, the song is not political at all. It's about, like, a boy and, like, what she's doing the most to, like, be with this boy or whatever, right?
Totally.
And so, like, the fact that, like, she knew people were going to watch the video, and, like, you're so right. Like, her cabinet was diverse. She was, like, protecting USPS, the Postal Service.
Yeah.
She was giving Medal of Freedom. Like, it was just, like, really great, and, like, having a woman in power and fucking killing it. Like, it was just, it was great. But I do want to say one quick thing. I know you're an Ariana Grande fan, so you might, like, kill me for this, and I love her too, but I feel like her songs are kind of starting to sound similar. Like, some of the songs with, like, the beat. And that's how I feel about this song. It kind of like sounds similar. I mean, I still think it's a bop, but I just wanted to point that out.
Oh no, I totally agree. And like what she teased the song with was that ending where she's like, like, I can't sing, but it was like that kind of beat. Know what that reminded me of? You know the song Holy Grail, Jay-Z and Justin Timberlake, not Bieber. It's like, it goes like da da da. It's like the same sound. I was like, oh, it sounded very familiar to me, and I agree with you. And I think the single is like meant to be that like catchy, sound the same thing. So I'll be interested to see how the rest of the album will be, which we will of course talk about next week.
We will talk about it next week, so just stay tuned, y'all.
Yes.
All right. So what's your good news of the week?
Honestly, I was trying to think something else. I'll say, you know what? I'll say it was definitely Ariana Grande's song, like, by far. But I will say my broken foot, like, I don't need crutches anymore. Like, it's starting to heal. So that'll be my good news.
I don't know if we mentioned this, but Alex broke her foot wearing Crocs, and that's why you don't wear Crocs. So
it's true. I have no defense of it.
Nope, you fucked up, pal. Okay, so my good news of the week is I got Employee of the Month in my department. That was pretty cute and exciting.
That's so good. That's really cool.
Yeah, and the Dodgers are in the World, you guys. Oh my god! I hope by the time this, because we're filming on a Saturday, and there's a game today and Sunday. So I hope by the time this comes out, like, well, I hope they're world champions, but then this will be dated. But they're in the World Series, and I'm so happy, and I love them, and I'm gonna cry if they win. So that's another great news.
I love it. Okay, so first we'll do my mom first because I have it pulled up. So she said, I had a customer who was 2 months past due. Thought I was going to get stiffed. The good news is he paid me this week. Yay!
Right! Love that.
Love getting paid.
The next one, Laura said it's Scorpio season. Yes, it is, baby.
You know what? I do like me a Scorpio. They're very, it's either love or hate, I think.
Okay. I don't really feel like I have a...
Do you have, like, any that most of your friends are, do you think? What are you again?
My best friend,
Libra?
I'm a Virgo.
Virgo, okay.
I'm very much a Virgo.
See, I get those two confused. I don't know Libra and Virgo, like what the types are.
Organized, OCD, self-driven. I'll text it to you. I don't want to bore everyone. Most of my friends are Sagittarius, Pisces. I tend to not really get along that well with Pisces, but my best friend's a Pisces. I dated Leo. My boyfriend was a Leo, or my ex-boyfriend was Leo. I get along with Libras. Tauruses are a little hard because they're stubborn and I'm stubborn, so we butt heads. Anyways,
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, we get along great.
See, I identify more as Gemini, but you're right. Well, this will be another episode. Okay, next, Jamie said, and Jamie was on our first guest on our show. She said, I got a raise at work.
Woo!
That's so good. Honestly, a lot of these are like work or money related, and I really love that. I love that for us.
I love that energy. And our last one is from Olivia, and she says, I'm voting today. Your girl's ballot got lost in the mail, but I'm voting in person. Yay!
Woo-hoo!
We love it.
Yes, I just voted yesterday. Feeling good about it.
I don't have my sticker on me, but I voted this week, and I got notification that they received my ballot, and so it's going to be
gosh,
yay! So make sure you check
Woohoo!
your ballots, everybody.
Yeah, if you're in California, I know we've said this before, but to track your ballot, go to, I think it's where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov. Yeah, and I just signed up for those text alerts, so I'm very excited to see.
Exactly. And that does it for us, everybody, this week. Words are why can I speak right now? Let's make it a great week, everybody. Let's have some thoughts and just have a great, great, wonderful week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.